He became rich, powerful, and irresistible. No woman ever turned him down, until one poor girl said no. He thought he could win her like the rest. But what if she was never meant to be won? Only meant to change him forever? Stay tuned, because you are about to watch a beautiful story and find out what happened next. Hello family, welcome to Tales by King. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories. Thank you as you do so. Sit back, relax as we dive into the story. Ethan Cole did not grow up dreaming of love. He grew up dreaming of being seen. He was born in a small, crowded neighborhood where houses were close together and people struggled every day just to survive. His father worked long hours in a noisy factory and returned home tired and silent. His mother sold snacks by the roadside, standing under the hot sun from morning till night. They loved Ethan deeply, but they could not give him the things other children had. Most days, Ethan wore the same pair of shoes to school until the soles were thin. His uniform was always neat but old. While other boys talked about new phones and weekend trips, Ethan listened quietly, pretending he did not care. But he cared. At school, Ethan was not popular. He was shy and soft-spoken. When he tried to speak to girls, they either ignored him or laughed. Some whispered behind his back. Others looked through him as if he was invisible. Every lunchtime, he sat alone with his small lunch pack, watching richer boys surrounded by girls. They bought snacks, joked loudly, and showed off their money. Girls leaned close to them, smiling and touching their arms. Ethan wondered, what is wrong with me? One afternoon, he finally found courage. There was a girl in his class he admired from afar. She was kind, beautiful, and always smiling. His heart beat fast as he walked toward her after school. "Hi," he said nervously. "Can I walk you home?" The girl looked him up and down. Her eyes moved from his worn shoes to his faded shirt. Then she laughed. "Please," she said loudly. "I can't be seen with someone like you." Her friends burst into laughter. Ethan felt his chest tighten. His ears burned. He could not speak. He turned and walked away as tears filled his eyes. That night, he lay on his small bed staring at the ceiling. The house was quiet except for his parents talking softly in the next room. His heart felt heavy, full of shame and pain. In that moment, something changed inside him. He whispered to himself, "One day I will be rich. And when I am, no woman will ever reject me again." From that day, Ethan changed his life. He studied harder than anyone in his class. He woke up early to read business books. After school, he helped his mother sell snacks. At night, he searched for ways to make money. He failed many times, but he never gave up. Years passed. The shy, poor boy grew into a strong, determined man. And one day, his hard work finally paid off. Ethan became wealthy. But he did not know yet that the greatest test of his life was still waiting for him. Ethan did not become rich overnight. It took years of sacrifice, failures, and sleepless nights. But when success finally came, it came fast and loud. His small business grew into a big company. People who once ignored him now wanted to work with him. Banks trusted him. Strangers respected him. And most of all, women noticed him. When Ethan walked into a place, heads turned. His fine clothes, calm confidence, and expensive car spoke before he said a word. Girls smiled at him like he was a prize. At first, he was shy about the attention. Then he began to enjoy it. The boy who was once laughed at was now wanted. And it felt powerful. Ethan learned something quickly. Money changed how people treated him. Women who would never have looked at him before now laughed at his jokes. They called him handsome. They wanted to be close to him. They followed him to restaurants, parties, and trips. Soon, Ethan started to believe that love was simple. If he wanted a woman, he could get her. If she said no, he would try again. If she hesitated, he would offer gifts. If she still refused, he would show her his lifestyle. And it always worked. Women said yes, not because they knew him, but because of what he had. Deep inside, Ethan knew this truth. But he did not care. Because every yes healed a small part of the pain he carried from his past. Soon, his name became known among his friends. They laughed and said, "No one ever turns Ethan down." And Ethan believed it too. Until one night, during a small gathering with friends, someone mentioned a name that would change everything. "Have you heard of Grace Turner?" one of them asked. Ethan leaned back in his chair. "Who is that?" "She works at a small bookstore near Pine Street," the friend said. "But men talk about her everywhere." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Why?" The friend smiled. "Because she refuses everyone." Ethan laughed loudly. Everyone? That's impossible. She's different, another friend added. She says she has morals. She doesn't want a rich man. She doesn't want gifts. She doesn't want fun. The table went quiet for a moment. Ethan felt something stir inside him. A woman who could not be bought. To him, it sounded like a challenge. And Ethan had never walked away from a challenge. That night, as he drove home, her name stayed in his mind. Grace Turner. He smiled to himself. No woman has ever turned me down, he thought. She will not be the first. But he did not know that this time, the game he loved so much, was about to change him forever. The next morning, Ethan woke up earlier than usual. He did not know why, but Grace Turner's name was still in his mind. It felt strange. He had met many women in his life, beautiful women, bold women, soft women, loud women. Yet none of them stayed in his thoughts like this, not even before he met them. He sat on the edge of his bed and smiled lightly. Let me see this different girl, he said to himself. Later that afternoon, Ethan drove to Pine Street. He passed the big buildings and busy shops until he entered a quieter area. The road looked older. The stores were smaller. People moved calmly, not like the loud city center where Ethan spent most of his time. Then he saw it. A small bookstore with a simple signboard. Turner Books and Stationery. Ethan parked his car nearby. People on the street glanced at it, because it was too expensive for that neighborhood. Some even slowed down to look at the man stepping out in a clean suit and shiny shoes. Ethan adjusted his wristwatch and walked into the shop. The smell of old books and paper filled his nose. The place was quiet and peaceful. A soft fan turned slowly above. Books were arranged neatly on shelves. There was nothing fancy, but it felt warm. Then Ethan saw her. Grace. She was standing near the counter, arranging books. Her hair was neatly packed back. She wore a simple blouse and a plain skirt. No heavy makeup. No flashy jewelry. Her face was calm, like someone who did not need to impress anybody. Ethan expected to feel excitement. But instead, he felt something different. A strange respect, even before she spoke. Grace looked up and smiled politely. Good afternoon, she said. Welcome. How can I help you? Ethan stepped closer. I'm looking for something interesting, he replied, giving his smooth smile. Grace nodded. What kind of book do you like? Her tone was normal. She did not widen her eyes. She did not act surprised. She did not suddenly become extra sweet. Ethan noticed it immediately. Most women changed the moment they recognized him. They became soft, excited, and eager. But Grace stayed the same. Ethan picked a random book and brought it to the counter. Grace rang it up and told him the price. Ethan paid and waited, expecting her to ask who he was. She didn't. That first visit ended quickly. Ethan walked out and sat inside his car for some minutes, confused. Maybe she didn't recognize me, he said. He decided to return the next day. The next afternoon, Ethan entered again. Grace greeted him the same way, calm and polite. He tried to start a longer conversation. My name is Ethan, he said, leaning slightly on the counter. Ethan Cole. Grace nodded. Nice to meet you, Mr. Cole. That was all. No excitement. No special smile. Ethan felt his pride pinch him. He asked questions about the books, about the area, about her work. Grace answered respectfully but briefly. She never tried to pull him closer. She never tried to impress him. Yet Ethan kept returning, day after day. He told himself it was just a challenge. But deep down, something else was happening. He was getting used to her quiet presence. One evening, Ethan decided to stop wasting time. He stood by the counter, looked at her directly, and said, Grace, let me take you out for dinner. Grace paused. Not because she was shy. Not because she was happy. But like she was carefully thinking about her words. Then she shook her head. I'm sorry, she said gently. I'm not interested. Ethan blinked. He thought he heard wrong. I'm serious, he said, forcing a small laugh. Just dinner. One evening. Grace looked at him again. Thank you, she said. But my answer is no. Ethan's mouth opened slightly. No woman spoke to him like that. Most women would have started smiling, asking where and when. But Grace's face remained calm. Ethan left the bookstore with his head hot. That night, he called his friend. Are you sure this girl is poor? He asked. His friend laughed. Very poor. That's why we are shocked she refuses rich men. Ethan's jaw tightened. The next day, Ethan sent flowers to the bookstore. Grace returned them. He sent a small gift box, expensive perfume. Grace gave it back through a delivery man untouched. Ethan was now irritated, so he decided to do what always worked. He went himself, walked into the bookstore, and placed an envelope on the counter. Grace looked at it. "What is that?" she asked. Ethan smiled. "Open it." Grace opened it slowly and froze when she saw the money inside. Her face changed. Not with excitement, with disappointment. She pushed it back to him immediately. "Please take this," she said quietly. Ethan frowned. "Grace, it's just support. I know life is hard. You're working here. You can use it." Grace's eyes became sad. "Mr. Cole," she said, firm but calm, "do you think I don't know what this means?" Ethan tried to speak, but she continued. "You are not supporting me," she said. "You are testing my price. And I don't have one." Ethan swallowed. Grace stood straighter. "I am poor," she said, "but I am not desperate. I have morals. I have principles. I have a God I answer to." Ethan's pride rose. "So you think you're better than everyone?" he asked. Grace shook her head. "No," she said softly. "I just know what I want. And I know what I will not do." Ethan stared at her, suddenly speechless. Grace added quietly, "I'm not a prize to win. And I'm not a game to play." Those words hit Ethan like cold water. He walked out of the bookstore without another word. But that night, Ethan could not sleep. He lay on his bed, turning from side to side. He tried to distract himself, music, movies, phone calls, but nothing worked. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face. Not angry, not proud, just strong. He remembered how she said, "I don't have a price." Ethan sat up on his bed suddenly, breathing out slowly. This had never happened before. He had always been the one in control. But now, a quiet bookstore girl had shaken him, and he could not understand why. Yet one thing was becoming clear. Grace Turner was not like the women he knew. And if Ethan was not careful, this simple chase might become something deeper, something he never planned for, something that could change him forever. Ethan did not return to the bookstore the next day, or the day after. He told himself he was done. He told himself he was not affected. But at night, when the house became quiet, Grace's words returned to him. "I don't have a price." Those words followed him everywhere. At meetings, he caught himself staring into space. At parties, he felt empty even while people laughed around him. Women still wanted him, but he felt nothing. For the first time, money did not excite him. One evening, Ethan decided to drive past Pine Street, just to see the area. But his car slowed in front of the bookstore. He sat inside for a long time, watching the door. Finally, he stepped out. When he entered, Grace looked up in surprise. "You came back," she said quietly. Ethan nodded. "I'm not here to disturb you," he said. "I just want to understand you." Grace studied him, then pointed to a chair. "Sit," she said. They talked. Not about money. Not about dating. They spoke about life. Grace told him about her childhood, how her parents died young, how she learned to stand on her own, how she chose to live with purpose. Ethan listened. For the first time, he was not trying to impress a woman. He was trying to know one. From that day, he started coming again, not every day, but often. Always respectful. Always calm. Then one evening, Ethan followed her from a distance after work, not to spy, but to understand her world. Grace walked past busy streets into a quiet area and entered an old building. Children ran to her, calling her name. Ethan froze. He stepped closer and saw her helping them with homework, sharing food, laughing. His chest tightened. She gave what she barely had. That night, Ethan cried in his car. He realized the truth. What he felt was no longer desire. It was love. The next day, he returned to the bookstore and said, "Grace, I don't want to win you. I want to change for you." Grace looked into his eyes. She saw honesty. Weeks passed. Ethan stopped chasing women. He changed his life. He started helping at the community home. Grace slowly began to trust him. One evening, under the soft streetlight, Ethan said, "I came for lust, but I stayed for love." Grace smiled through tears. "I will give you a chance," she whispered. Ethan helped her return to school. He supported her dreams. He built a future with her. And finally, he understood. Sometimes the woman God sends will be the hardest to get, because she is not meant to be owned. She is meant to be loved. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you find this story worth watching. If you do, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel for more beautiful stories, like, comment, and share this video to your friends and loved ones. Your support and engagement encourage me to post more videos. Thanks for watching.